In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Quinlan Vos for the Vintage Collection as part of the Phantom Menace wave. So Quinlan Vos and the Phantom Menace aren't typically associated with one another, and when this action figure was initially revealed, a lot of us were thinking, what? Quinlan Vos and the Phantom Menace together? How does this happen? Well, it turns out he is actually in the Phantom Menace. He's sitting in the background in Mos Espa there during the scene when Qui-Gon and Anakin initially meet one another. And then, of course, Jar Jar and Sebulba are having their tiff with one another. And he's sitting in the back, what I would assume is either a bar or cantina. And I'm sure at the time, when the movie debuted, there was no intention on making this guy be a grander character than what he was. At best, he was just a cantina patron. But then somehow, one way or another, enough people took interest in this guy and decided to make a huge backstory for him. So that leads into being Quinlan Vos the Jedi. So I've had this action figure since 2012. I actually got him on sale for $6. At the time, I was kind of on the fence with Quinlan Vos. It was one of those ones where it's like, yeah, I might get him at some point. But then when I saw him on sale at my local grocery store for the $6, I thought, I'll go ahead and get him. And I'm glad I did. He's a great action figure. Definitely one of the highlights from that Phantom Menace wave. As much as people like to make fun of it and about how much it peg warmed and there were some releases that were questionable in it, this one was definitely in the top few for the entire wave. Up there with like Darth Maul and Queen Amidala, for instance. So we'll just take a closer look at this guy. So he's definitely like a surfer dude, I guess. Or he looks like someone that you would see out surfing the waves day after day. Very popular character in the expanding universe. And he has had his share of releases for action figures over the years. There's the Clone Wars version, Clone Wars animated one, which I do hope to get that action figure at some point. It's a pretty good one. I never found it at retail at the time. And then there's also the comic pack one that comes with Commander Faye. And I really hope to get that pack at some point. And it's a pretty easy one to get a hold of, so perhaps I will. And then I think there's one more comic pack as well that comes with the Deveronian for Quinlan Vos. So was that 4 releases over the years? Pretty interesting for being a background character Jedi to have 4 different individual releases. Pretty neat. So the head sculpt is very good. As you can see, he has some pretty thick and big hair on him. And Hasbro did a nice job of capturing those details. You can see he has a fairly neutral expression, and then he has either the face paint or the tattoos just under his eyes there, above his cheeks. Then he has a little bit of that on the side of his forehead as well. Looks pretty good. Interesting thing about Quinlan Vos is him and Obi-Wan actually grew up together and trained as Jedi together, so they end up being really good friends. And in the Clone Wars series, we do see some hints about that. They do talk about it a little bit. As for the rest of his outfit, it's not the most striking Jedi tunic in the world. And I imagine Quinlan's the type of character that does like to stay undercover in most instances. And I think this outfit captures that perfectly. It's a pretty nice tunic. All brown, and then looks like a gray undershirt underneath. He has these wrappings around his hands. And it's for both sides here. You have his belt here with some pouches. Of course, you can plug in a lightsaber hilt on the side here. And then he does have a holster with a pistol. Very unorthodox for a Jedi. And he does have his skirt, which is plastic for the back here, but it does have plastic loincloth in the front, but it does have soft goods underneath. That's to allow for the extra flexibility. And for his trousers and his boots, some goldish colored studs on the boots here. Very good. In terms of his articulation, he does technically have a ball joint to head, but of course because of the hair, it's a little restricted. You can get some side-to-side motion. That's perfectly fine though. I think the aesthetic of the hair is too nice to really do any other way, so that's alright with me. He does have hinge at the shoulders, which go a little past 90 degrees, and hinged elbows, which do go 90 degrees, and swivel wrist, swivel waist. He does have hinged hips. Pretty good. Then hinged knees and hinged ankles. In terms of accessories, he comes with a fair amount. He does have his lightsaber here, which is a very unique hilt. It kind of reminds me of a combination of like Obi-Wan's and Qui-Gon's even. Not sure if this hilt is totally unique to Quinlan, but it looks like it'd be unique. The buttons are outlined on it. Black and silver detailing on it. And nice green blade, which is signature for Quinlan. And of course the unignited hilt on his belt, which plugs in pretty securely. And then of course the blaster pistol here, which fits nice in the holster. And I think that's a pretty unique blaster. Never really seen anything like it. And it does fit in his right hand. As you can see, he does have a trigger finger. So good way for Quinlan not to stand out in the crowd. If he just concealed his lightsabers, you would never even tell he really is a Jedi. You think he's just a average cantina patron. In fact, I might put him in if I make another cantina display at some point, I'll probably put him in it. I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about this action figure. We'll do a quick comparison here, kind of reminiscent to the comic pack with Commander Faye. Bring out one of the 41st Elite clones. And these two look really good together. Quinlan Vos definitely fits in with the Kashyyyk campaign display. And if I ever make one, he'll definitely be a part of that. And in case you didn't know, there is a deleted scene for Revenge of the Sith where Quinlan Vos meets his end during the Battle of Kashyyyk. It's after Order 66 is called. He's sitting inside of or at the top canopy of a turbo tank, and then the tank in front of him in the convoy ends up blowing him away. So in that particular scene for Revenge of the Sith, of course, that would have been his end. I think Quinlan Vos, over the years, it seems like he's in the same boat as like Shaak Ti, where his ultimate fate ends up changing several different times. And of course, in this new Disney era, I think his name is brought up in the Obi-Wan show, so perhaps we'll be seeing him again at some point. We'll see. But this is a great action figure, highly recommended. If you get one brand new, I think his price is a little bit on the steep side these days. For the longest time, it wasn't too hard to get a hold of one, but in recent years, it seems like his price has gone up a whole lot more. If you get one loose, you might get one a lot cheaper. I would just shop around for a deal for a little bit before going ahead and getting one. But if you do have any interest in this character and you really do want one, he's definitely recommended. Probably between the 4 Quinlan Vos action figures, this one probably is the best one. But any of the 4 I think are perfect. They're all really good just from what I can tell. And I do hope to get the other 3 at some point. He's a very cool character. Happy he's been a part of my collection for the last, 12 years now at this point. And I cherish him greatly. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There'll always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate all your support. And check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.